Being Grounded. Today, I'm beyond excited to be talking with one of my favorite Point Park alumni, Adelyn Biedenbach, all the way from Florida. Adelyn, how are you?
Lauren, hi. First of all, I love your jersey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love it. Thanks so much for having me today. Really excited to be talking with you guys and seeing what's going on at Point Park.
Yeah, awesome. So first and foremost, I have to ask, since these are coffee chats, what are we drinking? What's your favorite morning drink?
Little shot of espresso today. Nothing too crazy. Just to kind of get things moving. Nespresso.
I love that. So just tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know a little bit about you, but kind of tell me, so, teenage Nikki, you're graduating high school. How did you find Point Park? What made you choose Point Park?
Yeah, definitely. So born and raised in Pittsburgh, South Hills, as we were kind of chatting a little bit about, and was always aware of Point Park. I had gone to the high school media day once upon a time, and I had also done some of the summer dance intensives as well. I was familiar with the campus, loved the vibe, loved kind of just being in the urban area and everything that it offered. So was my number one school choice. Applied and got in communications, and moved in as a freshman. I was graduated class of 2012 with a degree in journalism, a minor in English. Was very active with a lot of the community dance programs and a lot of the other, just programming that the campus had to offer.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the high school media day, that's now the second time I've heard about high school media day this week. So yay, high school media day. I was telling another alumni earlier this week that, so this year, high school media day still happened. It was right around the time whenever Point Park went fully virtual, so we left campus. But the Center for Media Innovation, I think, had a big part in this. They helped make high school media day virtual. So they streamed a lot of the similar content like through their Facebook page. They had alumni that got on and kind of talked about, their career fields in relation to media, of course. And it was really awesome. I tuned into a couple of them, and I was just so happy that they still did something and, keep going on. I mean, this is the world that we're living in now. So just got to adapt.
It's an amazing time to be in media, whether you're a student or in it professionally. There's nothing that can't be done. I think some of the barriers that held us back before are certainly lifted. I know even video chats like this, when you were speaking with someone across the country, 3-4 months ago, we'd still pick up the phone. It would feel a little weird to turn your video on, but now I think everybody just turns the video on right away, and that can have some really cool long-term implications for media interviews, for broadcastings, for students who want to learn across the country and remote learning. So it is kind of neat if anything could come out of a horrible tragedy like this, is the ability to have some tech innovations and connect with people all over the world.
Yeah, that's so true. I couldn't have said it better myself. In terms of communication, I remember whenever I was, in school for advertising and public relations, I was really interested in the whole crisis communication field. So situations like this is a crisis.
So true. I mean, communicators right now have no playbook for this, and everything's its own situation, but it's an opportunity for, I think, even people who have been in the field for a really long time to learn something totally new, respond in a way that's totally new, and rely on some technologies that they never would have dreamt were part of, everyday life.
Yeah. And, it's been really cool to be able to connect with, different professionals in my world, from different universities across the country, just to hear about, how they're, staying in communication. But at Point Park specifically, and in our office, we have student workers, our social media co-op student, obviously a student. So the experience that we had one for the spring, and we have another one now that started for the summer, and the experience that they're getting in communicating this important information, and then also totally adjusting, making a left turn in the middle of the semester. We're on ground, we're talking about events, and we're talking about in-person things. And now it's what kind of resources are we providing, making sure we're staying on top of all the news that's breaking daily about it.
It's such a chance to be a sponge. And I think even, as we talk about new routines and how your days have changed, spending 30 minutes to an hour every morning listening to podcasts, browsing headlines, there's just so much information to take in every single day. And you kind of have to be on top of it because things are changing at the local level, at the national level, minute by minute.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Your time at Point Park, what was your experience like? What would you change anything about your time there? Do you wish that maybe you would have been more active in something that you weren't, or?
Yeah, I loved every minute of being at Point Park. I think it's so hard to believe that I've been gone as long as I have, because it feels like just yesterday. But during my time at Point Park, I was involved with the Point Park Globe. Spent a few semesters as a sports editor there, a few semesters as a social media editor there. Made a lot of really good friends that I still have to this day. Working at the Globe, whether in editing, writing, photography, a little bit of everything, and I think that was one of my favorite experiences about Point Park, was working at the Globe and working with people there. Took coursework in a lot of different areas. I think one thing, maybe if I could go back again, is take even advantage of some of the even more broad coursework that Point Park has. I did a lot of English classes for an English minor, and obviously all my core classes as a journalism major, but there were so many really unique classes that Point Park offered. And I really love the small class size. I think that's something that really kind of fit my personality type. I really like being in a class where you knew everyone. You would always have the opportunity to speak up and have an opinion on something and have a really good driven conversation with a fellow student or a professor. And I think that was something that's really, really unique about Point Park, as well as the ability for the professors at Point Park to still be working in the field, especially in the journalism and communication space. Our advisors at the Globe and a lot of the faculty that we work with had their hands in media companies throughout Pittsburgh and throughout the United States. So having some of those real time conversations and getting to know about them really supplemented my experience. Was also involved in the honors program, and then the Green and Gold Society, which I don't think exists anymore, but was part of the alumni relations.
Yeah, yeah. So thinking back to all of the things that you were involved in all of your classes, was there any like one moment or one class or one person that had the greatest impact on your Point Park time?
Absolutely. And I'm sure this won't be the first time you've heard this answer, but Helen Fallon was one of the first people that I met when I was interested in the journalism program. I remember meeting with her when I came to Accepted Students Day with my mom and dad, and was fortunate enough to take a lot of her classes in the journalism space, and then also work very closely with her with the honors student organization during my time. Worked on some theses and was able to present at honors conferences. And those are some really, really cool experiences to just kind of feel confident in your work and be able to share it with peers, across, the Eastern hemisphere, as well as other boards and areas that the honors program kind of reached out to. And so Helen, without a doubt, she's a one-of-a-kind human that cared not only so much about you as a person, but you as an honor student, you as a journalism student, and can't thank her enough. Still in touch with her, and I know just a lot of the faculty from the communications program too, and on the English side too, a lot of really outstanding Point Park faculty that really care about you and stay with you for the long haul too.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I mean, that is something that I never get tired of hearing about Point Park. I do hear Helen's name come up a lot, in addition to several other professors and faculty members across campus and staff members too, actually. So just, I hear a lot of names from all different ages too, which is really cool. And, in terms of universities, Point Park is on the younger side. So, a lot of our alumni are still living and still talk about professors who are still at the university,
And
which
Lauren,
is amazing.
yeah, one thing that I would be remiss to not bring up too, as part of the Green and Gold Society, and during my time as a student there, was there for Point Park's 50th anniversary celebration,
Oh,
which was a really wild event to be a part of. Got to work on some projects for the Globe there, some projects with Green and Gold there, and what a wonderful celebration, to your point, to a growing university, to look back at where it come and where the university is heading. So that was something I'll always remember too.
yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. There also, not a few years ago, I think it was right before I started at Point Park, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Globe, actually, too. So that was another really cool event. That's another really huge affinity group that we have.
I was in town for that too, totally by chance.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was traveling for work and was in town that night, and was fortunate enough to be able to attend that event too.
That's so cool. That's awesome. Wow. That's so cool. So speaking of events and coming back to campus, I think I remember in previous conversations that we've had that that you come back to campus or have come back to campus for move-in day. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah. Do you just really like to help students move in? So like, why move-in day? I mean, we appreciate it so much, but like, it's a lot of work. Move-in day is not easy.
It is. Well, I think a couple things. So normally, living down in Florida, I don't get to make it home a ton. And so August is usually the month that I make it home in time for.
Okay.
So the time works out right. And then secondly, like, I think I lived on campus for 4 years. There's a lot of great memories. It is really cool to be a part of sort of the move the herd, as you guys used to call it. I think just
we still do.
Yeah, okay, perfect, good. Seeing students and like kind of remembering that magic of like what it was like to first move in the first day and see your dorm for the first time. It's really a cool experience to come hang out for a couple of hours and talk to students about getting their college career started. So it's been a few years since I've done it, but it's a lot of fun and I'd love to be able to do it again.
Yeah. Well, we are always more than happy to accept your help. So, you're all sign you up. Count you in anytime you want to come. Yeah. Those days, they are really fun. Our office has been involved pretty heavily in at least the 3 years that I've been back at Point Park. We've really been trying to encourage alumni to come back to volunteer with those days, because even if like carrying heavy boxes is like really not your jam, because pushing those things across Boulevard and like,
it's a good workout.
If you get like one of the Thayer things where you have to go up the stairs, like no, count me out. But I'm really thankful for all the people that do that. But there are other ways to kind of be involved too, just direction, or just like being a friendly face. And it's cool. It's exciting to have all those people on campus, especially because like we're right in the middle of downtown Pittsburgh. So
hustle and the bustle. It's always wild too, to your point. Like, and I remember this when I lived on campus too. There's people just walking around going from their jobs and they're like, what do you mean you're moving in right here? Like, here's my fridge and my
like somebody's on like a conference call, like walking down the sidewalk and you're like pushing this big red bin. Like, there you go.
Like no other.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. So yeah, that's awesome. And I just love how, especially since I can say our time, because we were pretty much at Point Park around the same time. Since our time at Point Park, Pittsburgh and Point Park's campus itself has just changed so much. I can remember whenever we were in school, things pretty much closed at 5. There wasn't a lot of activity other than like light at night, whenever there was ice skating and stuff like that. But like, other than that, there weren't really, young people like us, like hanging out. And now it's night and day.
Sundays were deserted. I remember Sundays, there was like the subway. That was like where you could go. And now it's so grown up.
Yeah, it is so grown up. I love that. Yeah, it is so grown up. While you were at Point Park, you're really busy with like the Globe and honors and green and gold. So you definitely probably had to find a little bit of time for some jobs and internships. So if you did, what internships or jobs did you pursue, and kind of how did they help enhance what you were learning in the classroom?
Absolutely. So like you talked about, Pittsburgh was the campus, and it was nice because transportation to an internship wasn't an issue. There were so many that you could walk to or take a bus to. I did 3 while I was there. One was at an organization, I'm not even sure if they're still there, Pittsburgh Cares. It was a volunteer organization, and I ran their social media.
Nice.
And then I was able to do a PR internship over at the University of Pittsburgh while I was a student at Point Park, and could just take the bus back and forth there. And then my senior year, I interned with the Pittsburgh Penguins in digital media, new media. And again, it was such a valuable experience and ability to just leave class and just walk straight up to the internship. So it was pretty awesome, and learned a ton from all of those about public relations, digital media, a little bit of everything. I think right when we were on campus was when social media was really starting to take off, and brands were making their first ever social media accounts, 2007, 2008, 2009. So it was a really cool time to be a student and be able to kind of play around in that digital space. And that's a lot of what I do in my daily job now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember, I don't know if you took the class, but I actually took a social media class.
Yeah, with Heather.
Yeah. And I want to say, I think they still offer class. Obviously, it has progressed way from like whenever we took it, but I remember taking that class, and just being so overwhelmed with even the small amount of social media that existed then. And I had an internship as a social media coordinator for Idlewild and Soapstone.
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And so I did theirs. And I think at the time, Instagram definitely wasn't a thing. It was Facebook, Twitter, and Foursquare were like the three things. And so Foursquare was actually kind of cool. It was lame most other places, but it was really cool at like Idlewild because you could be like the mayor of the roller coaster or like the mayor of the spider. So that was actually kind of cool. And I liked that. And then I did a blog too, but I remember blogging was like really big in like the social media class, I think. And it's funny at the time, and even like a couple of years after social media kind of blew up, all these social media jobs were existing everywhere. And I think, a lot of people like my parents' age, who are now older and retired, they were like, oh, this social media stuff, it's just gonna die, and no one's gonna do anything, and it's just gonna, that's a dead end job. And now, I mean, if you don't know how to access your social media, that's not good.
Well, and it's true too, like to your point, social media is a job at a lot of places, but
Yeah.
there are every aspect of the job that touches social media, like finance, social media, communications, marketing, partnerships. Like I can't think of any area of the business these days that isn't impacted, customer service, by social media in some way.
Of course. And what's actually so funny, so my parents, as I mentioned, they're, older, they're retired now. And, they're a little savvy. Like my mom has an iPhone, my dad still has a flip phone, but, they've been dabbling in Zoom now in quarantine. So like they're expanding a little bit, but, they have a Facebook, I think, that they share, but like they don't really like use it. But a lot of times I'll send my parents like things that I saw on Facebook, whether that's like a new restaurant that's opening or whatever it is. And I will send it to my mom and she'll be like, how did you know about that? Where did you find out about that? And I'll say, well, I saw it on Facebook. And she's like, well, I want to get that notification. Like how do I find it? I'm like, Mommy, and like totally doesn't understand the concept, but it's now kind of like become a joke because they read the newspaper and like literally wait till the 5 o'clock news. And so when they're hearing their news, I'm like, yeah, I heard that last night. So it's really interesting. It's interesting for me.
For sure. Like, and that's, a job that communicators have to figure out when you're reaching certain people, how to reach them, where do you reach them, where are they watching? And it really is a fascinating and fun time to be thinking about things like that.
It is. It really is. Okay, so you graduate from Point Park, yay, PPG Paints or Console Energy Center when at the time. Okay, so we graduate. What came next?
I decided to go right onto a graduate degree. I had always had interest in grad school, and just sort of thought at the time, like I would rather kind of knock out the degree right away than kind of start in the business field and then come back. So I moved up to Syracuse, New York, and got a graduate degree up there in new media management. So kind of complementing what I had learned at Point Park, a lot of my degree at Point Park was journalism, was heavy on the writing, reporting, researching, content creation. And then my master's degree was a lot more in new media and sort of the business side of media.
Okay.
So finished up my degree there and was looking for jobs in sports, specifically hockey. Growing up in Pittsburgh, spending a lot of time in Pittsburgh was something that meant a lot to me. I loved my time interning with the Pittsburgh Penguins and finished my grad degree and interviewed like crazy for a lot of different positions. Ended up getting a job offer down here in South Florida to be a communications coordinator for the team. Moved down here in 2013, something like that, and the rest is history. Been with the team for going on 8 seasons. Have been fortunate enough to be able to learn and grow here, apply a lot of my skills from school in a lot of different areas of digital communications, traditional public relations, broadcasting relationships, and have absolutely just loved my time down here at the Florida Panthers. And as we talk about during COVID and the pause, just getting through every day and wait until we can have hockey again.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's what a good story. So for like these next couple questions, I'm gonna like have a little special guest join us. So my fiance Brad, come on in, have a seat.
Brad, love it. What's up, Brad?
So when you mentioned loving hockey and everything about hockey, we're big hockey fans. We're wearing our Panthers jerseys today, but Pittsburgh, a diehard Penguins fan, and he might root for another team, but that's for another day.
Well, we can find common ground, and I love that.
Yeah, exactly. I just kind of wanted to, have like a little fun conversation here just about, like some, like your day to day and everything like that. So on a normal day, let's like pre-quarantine, so like on a normal day, like what does your day look like? So maybe game day versus like non-game day.
Definitely. Well, first, I love your goal, and I wish you guys the best of luck. Keep me posted and let me know how I can help. And then, well, if you hear a noise in the background, I have a Florida bullfrog making a lot of noise. So sorry about that. It's a very
invite him in.
Like making so much noise over there. So forgive me. A day to day. So at my team, I am the senior director of communications. I oversee a group of 7, as well as we have a photographer and a couple of interns. So on a game night, there's 10, 11 of us. And really everything that we do on our responsibility list starts with the digital content that we're putting out on our website, our social media channels, our mobile application, the sort of what you call the sports information stuff that goes to the coaches, the media relations packets, that sort of thing. So we start our day making sure we have all the content sort of in order, whether those are printed materials that are being distributed across the arena, to broadcast trucks, to our morning skate, whether it's digital packages that have to go up on our website and social media to get everything ready for game day. Throughout the day, my team, we have an embedded videographer and photographer that stays very close to the team throughout the day and captures content that we'll use either in game at some point or on social media, on our website, stuff that we'll share with the media. We take inbound media requests as we're kind of promoting the game down here in South Florida, helping our local TV, local radio, local newspapers, as well as our rights holders that broadcast the game, Fox Sports Florida or 560 WQAM, which is our radio partner down here, making sure everybody has everything they need for the game. Go through morning skate, we'll do coverage. We have a beat writer that's going to write a story about it. We have a social media coordinator that's putting out tweets about it. We have sort of a content activation coordinator who's working with our sponsors and our partners to put up any content that kind of touches that side of the business and make sure that that part of the area is rolling. And we have some wonderful partners that kind of help make our game day experience even better. So going through that across the digital side, the broadcasting side, the media relations side, take a little break in the afternoon, grab some lunch, get ready, re-rally, then do it all again for the game. Do it all again, and then hopefully have a win, and finish up with some happy end of day press conferences, end of day video content, end of day social content. When it's a win, all that content's a lot more pleasant.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so just a pretty easy day is really what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's amazing. So, I think you might have mentioned this before, maybe it was in another conversation we had. So you do get to travel a little bit with the team, right?
I do. So somebody from my team goes on every road trip. I'll do about 40 to 50% of them. And that's somebody who's on the road. We're the public relations contact on the road, as well as we do content creation. So just grabbing photos for social media or helping direct our videographer, helping really work closely with the broadcast teams that's on the road to get what they need. But it's a lot of fun, just kind of trying to bring that road experience back to our fans on social media or our fans in Florida.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite city that you've traveled to? I know you don't typically get to probably spend a lot of time in those cities, but do you have a favorite city, or maybe top 5?
Yeah,
you don't have to say top 5, but like maybe 1 or 2.
I really love to come home to Pittsburgh. Obviously, It's great to see family. Stop by Point Park if I have a few minutes.
Yeah.
I really love going to Dallas. I think they have a great, just a great atmosphere. The whole city is kind of really behind their hockey team, and it's sort of a fun Southern hockey city. Nashville's always a good time. Their arena location right there, can't go wrong. Lots of good stuff to see there.
Oh, yeah.
And this isn't a normal one, but 2 seasons ago, we were part of the NHL Global Series. So we went over to Finland and were able to have some games in Helsinki, which was unbelievable. The NHL fan base there is so interesting and so fun. And that was a really neat trip to kind of do communications in an international market.
Wow.
Their own unique coffee partners too. So there's always the coffee is a big part of hockey and a big part of sports too. I run on coffee, so I always like to try the coffee anywhere you go.
Now it's kind of, we'll fast forward a little bit. So current day. So your day to day, especially game day, because we don't really have a game day. So your day to day has like really drastically changed. So in your position, can you talk a little bit about like how you've like led your team through this change or adjustment to new normal?
Yes, absolutely. So things have changed a lot, as you mentioned. I think we were scheduled to play a game in Dallas, actually, March 12th, and then kind of got the word that things were going to be put on pause, came back to Florida, made sure that everyone was in a safe location and kind of held up in a safe location. And then, like everyone, just really a huge focus on safety and unsure what was going to happen next on our team and especially for the content team. It's been a pivot to think about what kind of content we can put out there to kind of just keep fans engaged and also just be truly authentic. I think, like we talked about at the beginning, this is a time that no one has gone through before. There's no playbook. There's no way to reach humans right now, and just trying to be as human as you can, like trying to just make sure that you take that humanity into account whenever you're going through whatever you're going through. I think on our end, the players are all experiencing something they've never experienced before. For a lot of our athletes, this is the longest they've ever gone without being able to be on the ice or be able to play a hockey game. For a lot of our fan base, the first time that they're home trying to teach their families and do digital learnings at home and that sort of thing. So just a monumental shift in life, which is, not a surprise for anyone. So for us, very fortunate to have an ownership that's dedicated to community outreach and caring for our local South Florida community. So we've done a ton on the fundraising side. We did a virtual 5K with our Florida Panthers Foundation where we invited fans to, you kind of would donate and be entered into the race, and you could run on your treadmill and circles around your house, down the block, wherever you were going to run, and turn in your times. And we had something like almost 500 participants from over 20 states participating.
That's awesome.
Really cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So just a way to keep kind of sports in people's lives, even though we can't be together. And then on the content front for us, our team has really shifted from kind of covering hockey games like we talked about to creating content for our fan base. So we've been doing a lot of digital re-airs, showing some old games, re-showing the game where the rat trick occurred for sure.
We'll have to watch that tonight. Okay, we'll have to find that.
We reshare those. And then we have, on our end, we've done a really cool archiving project that we had started on a few years back. It's called the Panthers Virtual Vault. So we've been pulling items out of the vault, old pucks, old sticks, and then just trying to tell those items stories as a neat way to kind of keep some content up and give something fans something to kind of look forward to. And then, as we talked about our team, we're not usually webcasters, but we've really made a big shift to webcasting. We're doing video chats just like these with our season ticket holders and our players. We're doing Zoom calls where we're doing the media and allowing them to talk to players in this kind of new digital sphere. We just launched a Twitch channel for the Florida Panthers, so we're doing some e-gaming there for broadcasters, for players. Right now we're playing NHL 20, but we're open to playing a lot of different games and allowing fans to tune in. So trying to create some digital events, some digital touch points with our fan base, and just sort of go through this experience the same way most of our South Florida community is.
Yeah, that's awesome. So actually, speaking of NHL 20, Brad has, have you watched any like interviews like she's talking about? That seems like something you would really enjoy.
It's something I'll definitely have to check out is some of those interviews. And I know that some of the players do engage in playing NHL 20 and things like that. So that's very interesting. I would like to take a crack at one of those guys to see if I could beat them, because I hear most of them are actually pretty good.
And he's a self-pro, and he's really good at NHL 20, so.
We've all had a lot of practice. Now's the time we can all get really good at that. It's like we talk about, the time right now is just adjusting to new technology. And, we had joked about it a little bit, but how comfortable ability you are with video. And I think for us, a lot of what we do is also hold press conferences and media availabilities, and that has changed tremendously. But with everyone comfortable with Zoom and these sorts of tech and Instagram Live and all that, there's so much new stuff that I think we will carry with us into the future. If we sign a new player and they're not physically here in South Florida, We used to
Yeah.
just get a phone call, or we wouldn't do
Yeah.
anything, right? Like now we can bring this tech to life on all of these platforms that people are so much more comfortable with, and allow those players to speak to fans and media, and just allow everyone to be a little bit closer. So there's some good learnings too, but day to day, we're not having hockey games right now. We're waiting to see what's next, but just trying to, reach out to our community in ways that we can, and like I said, kind of go through the experience alongside, a lot of our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to ask, since it's so different and now, obviously everyone goes back to their home country since hockey players are from all over the world. Are you doing like video chats with them personally so that people can see them like in their homes, in their element, and getting to know like the more human side of hockey?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're hosting some as the Florida Panthers, and then the NHL has been spearheading a lot of these calls too, where they're bringing in players from different teams and players from different areas, and kind of getting together just like we are now. I know we've done some with our season ticket holders, where we allow them to kind of pre-submit questions, and then the player will just kind of pop on from their home and answer some of the questions. And I think it's a really nice touch point for everyone, really, for us to everybody to stay in touch, but also just to see that everybody's kind of going through this in the same way. Everybody's thinking about the same things. A lot of our players are dads and are also trying to figure out how to teach their kids remotely.
Yeah.
It's a human time, I think, for everyone involved.
That's the perfect way to say that. It's a human time. I love that.
Absolutely. So like what strategies do you have going forward when things open back up to get, people back in the seats and things like that? Because obviously it may take a little while to get people back into it. So what kind of things are you employing to just draw people back to the game?
Definitely. So at our arena, we also host concerts and a variety of different family events and all sorts of events. So for us, right now, the name of the game is just kind of follow our state and local government advice. So we're waiting to see what's next, but the business will definitely change tremendously when things come back online, and when we do start having games again, start having events again. I think there's a lot of emphasis and research being placed on everybody's safety and how can we continue to do the events and sports that we all love, but do it in a way that whatever that new norm looks like, and whatever that absolute healthiest best way for everybody to come together will look like. And I think there's going to be a lot of learnings. It's an interesting time for folks of all ages and of all areas to kind of see how this changes. It's going to be a wild ride, and I think businesses and companies have to be ready to do what's right for their people, and people have to be ready to stand up and ask for what they want and how they want to be treated. So it's going to be I really, to tell you on our end, nothing's set in stone yet. We're still kind of learning, exploring, seeing what's next. And I think it will definitely be something that's ever changing.
Yeah, yeah.
So on the media side of things, are you excited that they may be expanding the playoffs to 24 teams when everything comes back? Because that should set off a media storm for you guys, right?
We will see, right? Like we're gonna be ready for anything. Whatever they throw our way, we'll be ready to go
So
from
ready.
a content standpoint. We'll have our videographers ready if that's appropriate. We'll have our Twitch channel ready if appropriate. But I think that's kind of the name of the game right now, is just seeing what's next, and we don't know, and we'll be ready to respond to whatever is correct and whatever's the right path forward. But it's I know everybody's excited to have hockey back, and everybody's excited to have that as part of their lives again. That's what I think every business needs right now, is how we're looking at things from an entirely new way than we ever have before. So students, young professionals, bring your ideas, let them be heard, because now's the time to see, how we can make change for the better, and how we kind of adapt to what our new everyday looks like.
Yeah. So to that point, that's really interesting that you bring it up. Do you, kind of have just in general, very broad terms, but do you have any sort of advice for maybe somebody who is, maybe a recent alumni, recent graduate, alumni that's looking for just a career change? Do you have any, advice, or is there anything they could be doing during this time, professional development wise, that could help?
Definitely. So I think no matter what field you're studying or whatever field you want to go in, like now is the time to reach out to people and make connections. I know I've had a lot of students reach out during this time. A lot of people find themselves at home with like a little bit more time on their hands than they would
Yeah.
normally have. So it's a great time to be, reaching out to somebody on Twitter or LinkedIn or via email or an alumni from your university that has a job that you want, and just say, hey, like I would love to pick your brain on X and X. And now's a great time to do those informational style interviews. And I think that doesn't go just for students too. I have a colleague at the Panthers who advocates for people doing that well into their careers. Whether you're in a career for 5 years or 40, you can always be reaching out to people and learning from them and asking them questions about how they handle certain situations. So definitely do that. And then I think uniquely for students in the media field, like now is the time to just play with something. If you wanted to start a blog, or you wanted to start a live broadcast, or you wanted to do an Instagram channel or a live, Instagram TV, YouTube channel, anything like that, like just do it. Like connect your internet, do whatever you want to do, and just give it a try because you have nothing to lose right now.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned your colleagues from across the industry. So obviously, I'm sure you stayed in touch with those that you're close with. So it's kind of everybody in the same boat, just trying to adjust and adapt based on their city or state's regulations, I guess.
Yeah, and it's a good time to reconnect with people that you haven't had to in a while. So it's a great opportunity to reach out with that colleague, that former co-student or friend or family member that you haven't in a while. And everybody is in the same boat. So just jumping on chats like this and being able to hear their perspectives and pick their brain on how they've approached different things, I think that's definitely the norm for right now. And whatever field you're in, that's definitely how people are kind of handling the conversation, doing a virtual happy hour or a quick little call and just catching up.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so just wrapping it up, so just in general, so how, like, during this crazy time, so I'm sure you have friends literally all across the country and maybe even world. So how are you keeping in touch with your friends? Are you having virtual happy hours or Zoom parties? Like, anything fun that you've done?
I mean, nothing too original, same kind of stuff as everyone else, jumping on
Yeah.
little happy hours. I know for our Twitch stream, we're exploring using the game Jackbox. Are you guys familiar? Have you played? It's a really fun game. It's a bunch of games within a game, so you buy like the Jackbox party packs. So that's something we're exploring for our Twitch channel, but we've also been playing Jackbox with some friends. So you kind of can pop on and do all sort of games. You can do it on a Zoom call, and everyone can play. There's so many different breakdowns and versions of it. So kind of doing those like digital games just to stay in touch with folks has definitely been really fun. And if nothing else, then maybe we can take this time to do a little bit of learning and exploring, and that can never do you harm in the long term.
Nope, I agree. Well, Adelyn, this has been so amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciated this, and I appreciate you answering all of our questions. And I wish that we could be there in person, but hopefully we'll be able to see you sometime soon.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Lauren. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks to the whole Point Park team. I hope everybody stays healthy and well, and I can't wait to come back and visit campus soon. Thank you so much, guys. Be well.